Okay, so good morning to you, Mr. Fluent Diaries. I don't know your
Yeah,
real.
good morning.
Enlighten me
Good
about that.
morning. Okay, good morning. Very good morning to you, and thank you for joining. First of all, so I was waiting for you that you were something busy. I think so. We were discussed
I
earlier,
was,
right?
yeah, I
Yeah.
was like from Monday to Friday. I'm buried with work, but on weekends I
Okay.
tend to, have some spare time to do this creative things like making podcast.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. So you given me time. You were like a very busy time. Thank you so much for that. And yeah, of course. So as we are meeting first time, so let me break the ice by introducing myself. Myself, Sandeep Wankade, and I am from Maharashtra. And I have completed my B.Ed and Masters too in English literature, as well as I am running my own tutorials classes. And my hobbies are I playing cricket and reading books, mainly some stories, novels, book. And I would like to tell you, like nowadays, I told you that my hobbies are playing cricket, but it is not cup of my tea because I am used to very busy right now. Yeah,
Hmm.
that's all about me. What about you?
Like when it comes to my introduction, I have been teaching English for the past 7 years. It's been seven
Mm-hmm.
years, and I did my master's, and now
Mm-hmm.
I'm pursuing my PhD in the on the topic of Mahabharat. So
Wow, sounds
yeah,
good.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and on top of that, I teach English for like 11 hours. I work in IT company, so offline I teach over there for like two people, like to 20 employees, how to communicate effectively with foreign clients. And
Okay.
like prior to my going to my company and after coming back from my company, I provide online coaching. So
Okay. Mm-hmm.
the entire day I remain occupied by teaching English. So that's what I
Mm-hmm.
do from Monday to Friday.
Okay, so you are saying that you are running your online classes.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
correct.
Actually, I heard when I was seeing your video, that was really nice, and your communication, of course, very nice. You are using very advanced level English grammar, idioms, and phrases as well, and that would be very effective. Once listen someone's your English, that will be very beneficial for them as well. Yeah, of course. So, how would you started your journey of English speaking?
It started back in after completion of my 10th grade. Like after completion of it, I had this epiphany that now I really need to work on my English. So I joined a
Mm-hmm.
spoken English class, and that was the
Mm-hmm.
game changer part. It was a game
Mm-hmm.
changer in my life,
Mm-hmm.
and it changed it drastically. After that, I expand myself. My English improved exponentially. So from 2015, you can say that my journey was started, and I
Mm-hmm.
started teaching back in 2018. So I guess I have been teaching for like 6 to 7 years now.
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay. Mm-hmm.
furthermore, I studied entirely in English medium school, but it was not like up to the mark.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was not that much serious about it, and back then I never thought that once I grew up, I would be a English teacher.
Okay. So coincidentally, have become a English teacher.
Yeah, like the bug of English bit me, and
Mm.
since then I have been obsessed with this language.
That's great, really great. Actually, yeah, of course. So as you said that you were like doing your work since like teaching in field. So what efforts you have done to reach at that level in order to if some new learners want to learn English very fastly. So what would you suggest them?
I would suggest them that remove this word very fastly, because in
Mm-hmm.
this case, there's no such thing as fast. It takes hell of a
Mm-hmm.
time, and
Mm-hmm.
you to remain consistent with it. At the same time, you need to possess a lot of patience with yourself. So it
Mm-hmm.
took me enough a time to reach at this level, and
Mm-hmm.
even after reaching this level, I'm not resting on my laurels.
Mm-hmm.
Always try to elevate my skills. I always
Mm-hmm.
uh, uh, find the void, and I always try to fill up that void. So there is always a room for improvement. It's a never ending
Mm-hmm.
process. It's a lifelong
Yes,
process,
yes.
and you cannot say
Mm-hmm.
that it's a destination. It's a process.
Mm-hmm. It's a process, and we
Yeah.
have to make very consistency while we are learning English. Yeah, that's really important ones who wanted to learn English, I thought that they may maintain their consistency, isn't it? Yeah, actually, I have started my journey when I was in vernacular medium, and that time I was very scared while talking with my friends, mostly, and especially I would tell you, in a rural background, there is some kind of a orthodox mindset of
Hmm.
people that if we are talking with them in English, they were like, okay, you are like feeling very, you are showing off yourself, right? That kind of
Supercilious. You are being
yeah,
supercilious. Like you are
yeah,
trying to think that you are superior than others.
superior than others, right? And we have taken this language as like very prestigious language, rather than our mother tongue, whatever would be our mother tongue. Like people are thinking like English is really prestigious language. Ones who know English very well, they can become like very almighty person and something like that. I thought that English like I thought that English like only the way of communication, not way of a perfection. Like every person has their specific skills. So people must give the respect of their skill, not a language. Yeah, of course, language is very important, and nowadays you can see English is a window of world, right? So
Hmm.
if you wanted to see world, you will have to go through the window, isn't it? Thereafter, you can understand the English very well. Yeah, that's my perspective on this language. What about you?
I feel like it's not a language nowadays. It's not merely a
Mm-hmm.
language.
Mm-hmm.
I would be little selfish about it because for
Mm-hmm.
me, I feel like English is a skill that everyone needs to
Yes.
possess in
Yes.
today's
Yes.
world. If you are not having the knowledge of English, people
Mm-hmm.
won't look up to you. And
Mm-hmm.
I feel like being an
Yes. Yes.
English teacher, that helps me a lot because if people are
Mm-hmm.
crazy about English, then I would be getting my bread and butter out of it. So as long as people
Mm-hmm.
have this kind of mindset, I'm okay with it, whether people
Mm-hmm.
like it or not. So I always, and even I was in that phase where I used to look up to the people who used to speak in
Mm-hmm.
English. I felt like, wow, I wish one day I would be like them. And now I at
Mm-hmm.
this level, I feel like I have achieved a lot. But like I said,
Mm-hmm.
rest on your laurels. Always try
Mm-hmm.
to push the envelope.
Yeah, yeah. English is very vast and widely spoken language. So that is why there were so many phrases, there are so many idioms and lots of knowledge into it, day by day adding into it, right? So if
Definitely.
someone is like trying to read and like doing their self, so it is not. They have to listen. Like the person like you who are very tremendous knowledge in that particular area, so they can also listen to you. And some are those people who are using their new idioms and new phrases. If students wanted to come across these kind of things, so they have to listen as much as possible, and the way the people are speaking, they have to imitate them as like that as well. So
Mhm.
actually my pronunciation was not up to the mark, but in order to increase my pronunciation, I just listen some foreigners videos, and there are so many foreigners are preaching very well. They are using a very slow tone, and they are like we can yeah, I have seen it on YouTube as well. So I was like try to speak like them, and from that onwards I enhance my pronunciation as well, isn't it? So English is not you only the learn grammar and you can listen and then you try to like elaborate yourself and try to explain yourself. It is practical language. Once you start by
Definitely.
your own, then you can understand. I have understood this language so far, isn't it?
And there are layers and layers of it. Like once you
Yes,
peel up
yes, yes.
one layer, you will come across some that kind of layers that you need to overcome. It's not like you simply merely focus on speaking skills, then you would be lacking behind in listening skills. So it's amalgamation
Mm-hmm.
of several things. It's
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people are under the impression that merely by speaking we can enhance or elevate our skills, but that thing is completely preposterous. You need to have the knowledge, you need to execute that knowledge, and once you do that on regular basis, then your English would be top notch.
Exactly, exactly. And actually, we have to listen as much as possible. Like I have seen one of the video, and in that, the person who are like very old age person on YouTube. I don't remember his exactly name, but he was telling in very particular, in very practical manner. He was telling once you listen as much as possible, you can try to speak like them, because once we listen someone, we can make an answer. Once we not listen someone, we cannot produce our answer, right? Someone is like telling we have to understand questions. So first of all we have to understand their perspective, how the way they were talking to us, then we can answer them very effectively. So listening skill is
Hmm.
very important. What would you think on this particular topic, whether person has to listen or do their grammatical things and by reading or all those things?
Definitely. And I often tell my students, my pupils, that always, try to breathe this language. No matter what are the
Hmm.
things that you do, make sure that English is always there. Be it by
Exactly.
listening, be it by watching. If you're watching something, try to watch that content in English. So once you
Hmm.
get the environment where you are completely, surrounded by it, that's going to boost your
Hmm.
skills to the really, top level.
Hmm. And actually, sir, I have seen one thing. Like we are Indians, and our culture is different, right? Such that the foreigners has also their culture, and of course, we understand their culture. We can also use to their language as well. Like English has a different culture. Like if some words they are using, that means there is behind this word their culture is always there. So once we understand their culture, so we understand the English as well, isn't it? So that's why people are saying that you have to watch a series and Netflix and like English movies, isn't it?
uh, I keep on stressing this thing over and over again. Like these things that you mentioned, movies and series, is are gonna boost your English to a really different level. Like back then when I was learning, I used to watch a lot of films and series. At that time, for the sake of educational purpose, but now it's been my habit. I don't tend to watch any kind of other films like Hindi movies, Malayalam movies. I don't tend to watch that. I merely watch English movies because I try to hit two birds with one stone. I get the entertainment, and on top of that, I get the knowledge out of it. So that's how I evaluate my skills.
Yes, of course. We have to understand their culture first of all. We have to understand the way they were speaking in that particular situation. And if where is I'm talking, if I'm talking about the phrasal verbs, like phrasal verbs are quite difficult to understand. Like if we are, you know very well, phrasal verbs, verb plus preposition, and some are like thinking who don't know about English, they will think like look means to see, and after means later on, right? So they combine these two words, they will understand, okay, after see something will answerable from this phrasal verb, but the meaning is really different to take care of someone, isn't it? So that
Definitely.
is why people in that particular area, people are getting stuck. They don't understand that how to understand and how to comprehend the meaning of the actually particular word. So they have to understand where the people have been using this particular phrasal verbs. It is also the key of success in English, spoken English.
Definitely.
What you are looking at
There's
these things?
nuances of it. It's nuances of it, and luckily enough, I have few like several friends from different parts of the country. Some of them are
Hmm.
native speakers, so they always have my back. Whenever I'm in a pickle, I always go to them and I ask them because some of the things in English that are not usable, usability
Hmm.
is not there. Whether is it really applicable, are you guys really actually using these things, or we are simply cramming up all these things? So sometimes it's like that also. Like let's assume that we learn a idiom, for example, a piece of cake. So what if
Hmm.
the native speakers themselves are not using it and we think like we are elevating our skills by
Yes,
using?
exactly.
So
Yes,
I
yes,
often have
exactly.
a conversation with them, and I whatever knowledge I try to impart to my students, I make sure that there's a usability in them.
Actually, sir, I have observed one thing. I don't know you have a kind of knowledge of these things or not. So far, I've seen our Indians have lots of knowledge about English than of foreigners, isn't it? And we are really perfect at grammar as well. Our grammar is very perfect. Actually, I had an one experience. One of the person I was teaching in school, one of the person was came from USA, and his name was William. So he was our principal was really impressed by his the way he was speaking, and he just took one lecture of English tenses. So when he was teaching that time particularly, I observed him. He was making continuously mistake while he was teaching tenses, and I just observed. And then I later I asked him like why I didn't upfrontly ask him that you had made so many mistakes. I just asked him like, sir, something I thought that there was something a problem while he was teaching. So he was like, yes, sir, you are absolutely correct. We are from America, but we don't have knowledge of grammar. we can speak like your native speaker. If my mother tongue is Marathi, so I can speak very well Marathi, but where is talking about the grammar, I can't understand grammar. I cannot tell you what is the adjective, what is the noun, what is the pronoun, what is these things, right? So that is the problem with our foreigners as well. People are thinking like we are foreigners, so we can speak very well and we have a lots of knowledge about the grammar, but grammar is the part which comes later on. First we learn and understand our language by imitating, right? When we were child, we were like our mother were asking us what do you want, so mother, we were just like mom 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 mom. So that after we understood it's called mom mom, later on we got the substitute words that mom mom is called water, right? So that is also important to understand by thinking, by imitating, and by observing to someone. What do you looking that particular things?
Uh, I tend to see things differently. I beg to differ
Mm,
on this opinion of yours because
mm,
for them it's their natural language. They are the native speakers, and on
mm,
top of that, they have acquired the language. What we do is we are
exactly.
learning the language. They have acquired it naturally. So,
Mm,
like when it comes to Hindi, Hindi is
mm,
our national language. So we don't
exactly.
tend to learn how the grammar of it. We
Mm,
know it how to speak in Hindi, right? There's
exactly.
no of learning the grammar portion of it. So likewise, when it
Mm,
comes to English, I'm not sure why you like if he was making mistake in what context, but I have never met anyone who makes mistake when it comes to native speakers because for them the grammar is not the thing. They speak fluently. They have the knowledge. They have been doing it for the since their birth. So I don't feel like they should be learning the grammar because it's completely for us. It's a new language, but for them, it's a part of their life.
actually,
What's your
as you said that they why they had made a mistake in particularly sentence, like yeah, of course there is a kind of a structure of sentence as well. So he needs to put like in a 10th standard examination, the examiner wants a particular like present perfect continuous tense. We are usually saying subject plus in assertive sentence, subject plus, right, have has plus been plus ving plus object, right? So this is the particular formula. Sometimes what will they do, they will do some kind of a changes into it, and they place according to their native language grammar. But what
name?
actually basic English teaches us this particular structure of the formula, and
Okay.
these things also taken in examination as well. So that is why I'm
So
telling to you. Yeah.
from that perspective, you are right. Their way
Uh-huh.
of teaching is not conventional because they are
Exactly.
imparting the practical knowledge. And what we do is we
Exactly.
focus too much on grammar, but it's about practicality also because
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times they tend to speak wrong English deliberately, and that
Mm.
looks it's not like they do it everything as per the grammar because it's their
Exactly.
natural language, and in our natural language also we tend to twist things as per our convenience. So that's what
Convenience,
they do.
exactly.
Yeah.
And that is why I told you that they are not perfect at grammar. The reason is behind it only these things, because they have a confidence. It's their native language. And the English, proper English, I would say that it's a very different. Sometimes they were making very up and here like sentence structure while they are speaking. So these things were happen with them as well. So we
Mhm.
Indians are feeling like foreigners are speaking very accurately, very grammatically perfect. Yeah, of course, it's their native language, so they are speaking very confidently. But they are also making some kind of a
Yeah, yeah, they do. They
making some
do.
kind of a
And,
grammatical
even
mistake. Yeah, yeah.
even people don't tend to take it seriously because their accent is really soothing for our ears. Personally, I
Mm,
admire American accent, and I'm also learning. I'm
mm,
doing a course for that. So
mm,
that's how I try to push my envelope. But
mm,
I really find it soothing when they speak. It really calms my
mm,
mind, and I feel like I should be listening for hours and hours. So I'm
mm.
that thing. But
They're
however,
they're they're whipping out some kind of like to be form, or they are not using. So if they are talking like we are friend, or they are just whipping out just we are friend. Like they are like fluently speaking. That is why we are getting confused. Like what he told exactly there. So
yeah,
this is the kind of a course as well. Wanna they are making gonna. This kind of a word they are using, and that is why we don't understand. Kinda, kind of like they are kinda using directly kinda. Isn't it? This kind of things are they using while they were speaking. That's why we don't understand.
My like from my side, I was facing this kind of issues when I initially started having conversations with people from the US and UK. But now, after
Mm-hmm.
years of having conversations with them, I have inherited some of their abilities in myself also, and I don't feel any
Mm-hmm.
kind of issues when it comes to listening. I get
Exactly.
99.9% things because I always
Exactly.
communicate with them, like not on regular basis,
Mm-hmm.
but at least like once in a week.
You are habitual of this people and language while listening, right? And I think so there is one language acquisition device in a store naturally by default in your brain. Once you activated this language acquisition device, ultimately you will understand what the people are saying, and ultimately you will learn multiple language. You will become a multilinguistic as well. So
True,
this is
true.
important. It is kind of skill. Yes,
Definitely.
yes.
And that thing has also like my accent earlier was completely a typical Indian, but now I feel
Mm-hmm.
like I have a neutral accent. I
Mm-hmm.
don't speak typically in English. It's somewhere
Mm-hmm.
it suits your like ears. It's not like hurting your ears. When someone
Yes.
speaks in typical English, sometimes it can be irritating. It drives you nuts. But now I
Mm-hmm.
guess I have found over my accent also. But like I said,
Mm-hmm.
I never rest on my laurels. I always try to push the envelope.
Definitely, you will be a very perfect at your goal, because your English is really nice, and you are using idioms and phrasal verbs that will also impact on your communication skill as well, isn't it? Yeah, that is also very important to understand actually. So apart from this, we were talking on this particular topic for so long. Okay, apart from this, so what do you wanted to do? What do you like to do in your free time?
Free time nowadays, I don't think I get that much of free time, but I'm into
Mm-hmm.
movies like I told you. I like to hang out with my friends,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and I'm into books also. I read a lot of
Hmm.
books for my cognitive
What kind
skills.
of books are you reading nowadays?
Uh, Initially, I was into novels, but nowadays I've shifted my thinking from novels to self-help books. So currently, I'm reading
Okay.
a book, "The Mountain Is You," and
Okay.
it's really a top-notch book. Every line speaks volumes, and I
Mm-hmm.
would really recommend to. I have even spoke about it earlier also, but
Mm-hmm.
this book is really top-notch. If a person is
Mm-hmm.
really trying to change his life, alter his life, then he should
Mm-hmm.
definitely read this book.
Have you read a Atomic Habit book?
Yeah, Atomic Habits.
That was really remarkable. That book was really impacted on me, and I was recommending my students to read this book. It's very nice, isn't it?
Um,
Yeah,
a lot of people, when I say that try to read books, they think that it's quite, old
waste of
school
time.
thing. Uh,
Yeah, yeah.
and they find it like some people are couch potato when it comes to reading. But I
Mm.
think the first and the foremost thing that you can do is try to hit as many books as possible.
Mm-hmm. Actually, while we are reading, I will tell you my experience. So, while I was reading, it's very we are our hypothetical mind will get enhanced. We can improve our skills of imagination, like Chetan
Hmm.
Bhagat, well renowned writers, who he was making stories by with the help of hypothetical minds. It will boost our imagination when we were reading something, isn't it?
Definitely, I completely see eye to eye. And few months ago, like I came across this video on YouTube where it
Mm-hmm.
was saying that there are few chemicals inside your brain that only gets activated if you impart like once you start reading the books. So
Mm-hmm.
some of the
It's
chemicals
true.
get released in your brain, and that's really good for your mental health and for the health of your brain. So reading
Mm-hmm.
books is a crucial part, and it should be a crucial part in your life also.
Mm-hmm. Like somewhere I have seen, I have listened. Someone was making podcast, and he was telling like reading books was not good, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I thought
That
that
person.
people should.
Yeah,
Uh,
and I really don't like that person. I don't know why. I have this gut feeling that I don't like that person, but it's all right.
okay, yeah, it's depend on us like. But I thought that why people are making such a statement, because while reading we came at that level, at that position, isn't it?
Hmm.
Since our childhood we were reading. and that is why we understood the English. We not completely understood, we cannot completely acquire language by only listening. We have to read, we have to understand something and some fragile things, right? So then we can become very good at that particular area. So reading is very important, and I was used reading completely. I my communication skills, yeah, I was nowadays I was listening people's foreign countries, but before that I was completely reading Sudhamurti. That was
Yeah.
really nice story. That was very short story. Hmm.
People think people are under the impression that people nowadays who read, they are kind of like boring, or they are like antisocial, or this kind of things are associated with it. But
Hmm.
I don't think that it has anything to do with those things. If you are reading a
Hmm.
book and good, you are having a good mindset, you are trying to make yourself better. So nothing
Hmm.
is wrong with the book.